2 in this free series from us here at Prohab to help you master stress. This is Manfred von Richthofen, otherwise known as the Red Baron, a World War I fighter pilot. Now, he flew for the Germans, and he was considered by both sides to be the best fighter pilot. I think he has a confirmed 80 kills to his name. Now, the thing about the Red Baron was when he was in that plane, flying the plane, he was not sightseeing. He was there to get things done. He's a man of action. And I like equating the Red Baron, good old Manfred, with a part of your nervous system, which is the same. It's about getting things done. It's the sympathetic nervous system. This is part of the autonomic nervous system, but to make it really simple, the Red Baron is your fight or flight system. It's pretty much on anytime the sun is up, the daytime. It's essentially a catabolic system. That means it takes big molecules and it breaks them down into smaller molecules with the ultimate goal to be releasing energy. The result of this is pretty acidic. It also promotes and creates inflammation, and it costs energy to use this system. So when you're flying the Red Baron, when your body is in the fight or flight state, whether it's a full 10 out of 10, I've just had a major threat to my life, or it's a low grade drip, this boss is on my back, that email, blah, blah, blah. When the Red Baron's flying, it's costing your energy, your system energy. You're taking resources out. If we use a kind of energy bank balance analogy, just think you're going to the teller and withdrawing. On the flip side, the Red Baron has a cousin, and she is the Green Goddess. She's all about rest and recovery. And where we were taking energy out of the system flying the Red Baron, the Green Goddess is about building energy. So essentially, she goes around, mops up all that inflammation, turns acid into alkaline. It's an anabolic process. So that means the Green Goddess takes small molecules and builds them into bigger molecules. So it replaces the energy stores. It fills the battery. It replaces protein from muscle. It rebuilds collagen and ligaments and tendons. That's happening typically at night, and it's the parasympathetic nervous system that is driving that. So we've got the Green Goddess and the Red Baron, two totally different types of systems, yet they are both normal. And what we need in the body is the right balance between those systems for us to have really consistent energy, for our health to be as it's designed to be, and ultimately for us to be able to perform consistently. Now, I could go into loads of detail about what the systems do at a glandular level, but essentially the Red Baron is all about releasing adrenaline and sugar. So you can be flying the Red Baron using that fight or flight system and not feel it. And the reason for that is adrenaline means you don't feel things. So you can be going hammer and tong, using that sympathetic system, creating inflammation, breaking molecules down, creating acidity, and not feel it. It skips that monkey brain. That limbic brain won't register that there's money coming out and maybe we've gone into overdraft. And this is a key point. See, a lot of times we see people come in with a problem that hasn't just presented. They've had this problem on and off for maybe a number of years. And because they've been flying the Red Baron more than they've been floating that Green Goddess, the body's been slowly breaking down, but they haven't always felt that because adrenaline has been part of how they get through their day. And a common thing we kind of hear and see a lot is people who say, well, I'm going to spend time on the recovery side of things on the weekends. So weekends become totally dedicated to recovery. And then we hear people say, I'm making sure that this holiday, I'm definitely switching off, I'm going to recover. So holidays become about recovery, not adventure. Weekends become about recovery, not sharing social situations with their family and their friends. And this is a sign that we've been flying the Red Baron for a long time. So now we know there's two systems that are operating every day. Every 24 hours, you have the red baron fight or flight sympathetic system running. You have the green goddess rest and recovery parasympathetic system operating, or you should. So, what are the things that drive these two systems? What things actually have an impact on whether one system is working over another, whether one is dominant over another? We're going to reference 5 key things that affect either the brainstem lizard brain, the limbic monkey brain, or the cortex thinking brain. And I think you're going to be surprised when you see what comes up. So here we go. Breathing directly affects whether you're sympathetic or parasympathetic, your red band, your green goddess is flying, and that's a function of that lizard brain. Your movements, your posture directly affects the lizard brain. Feeding habits, lizard brain. How you feel, your emotional reactions to what's going on in your monkey brain. And then the cognitive processes, the mental load, is that human thinking side. Now, we know a lot of people in the modern working world do not breathe with their full lung capacity. So they are sitting at a desk and sitting up to 15 hours a day. So their movements and posture are not how the body's designed. And often they're eating sugar-rich, low-nutrient cardboard at the desk for their lunch, and perhaps are disconnected from how they're truly feeling and have a lot of mental load. So at all 5 of those levels, modern life, it becomes really easy just to get that red baron up and in action. So if we've got the red baron flying, we're stuck on the left side of the brain and we're stuck in the cortex. This is the thing that sets up low energy, poor health, and ultimately poor performance. You may also see on this screen next to the red baron there, HRV low, and on the left there, the green goddess HRV high. At Prohab, we actually measure your red baron green goddess, and we measure over 3 days and 3 nights which system is flying. Heart rate variability, which is what HRV refers to, was actually first used by the Russian cosmonauts. So Yuri Gagarin was beaming his heart rate back to the space center so they could understand how much stress he was under. We now know that you can use heart rate variability to build a diagnostic picture of someone's autonomic nervous system. So the balance between spending energy using the red baron and putting energy back in using the green goddess. It can be used to help drive behavior change. So when you see this in action, you may have sensed something was going on, but when you see, oh, I was definitely flying the red baron when I was doing that work activity or doing this activity on the way to and from work, our clients have commented that it makes them change their behavior. And it's a really powerful relationship driver. By that I mean a relationship with yourself. It's like we're having a little look under the hood. Which level of the brain's operating, which side, which part of the nervous system's running a day, and we start to tap in to some of the feelings that maybe we have been able to ignore because of all that adrenaline that's been running in the background. So very quickly, heart rate variability measures the gap between the RR intervals, so the top of each beat, the R marker, that space. If the space is always consistent, so there's low variability, if it's always 750 milliseconds between beats, always the same, we know that's the red baron flying. If there's lots of variability, so sometimes it's 750, other times it's 845, other times it's 910, then it's down to 640. If there's heart rate variability, we know that the green goddess is in action. Here's a little look at one of the traces that I did this year. It's a Thursday. I put the trace on at 9 o'clock, and you can see across this graph here that there's a blue line. That represents my actual heart rate. And then the green bars are the green goddess, the red baron. Now through the day, we're looking for a particular spread of green goddess and red baron. And you'll see that my working day finishes at 5, and pretty much from 9 till 5, I've got a smattering of green, but mostly red through the day. I've got more than 30 minutes of green, which is kind of ideal during the workday. And then in the evening there, I've got, again, a mix of green and red. There's a bit of exercise there going home, not a lot. I'm riding my bike home, but a daily activity there. And then I sign off 11 p.m. into bed, and that sleep period there is recorded below. What we get to see with this is how much green goddess is flying at various times of the day, when your stress reactions are at their highest, the quality of your sleep, and the percentage of time when you're in bed that is dedicated to sleep. So you can actually see if the green goddess is supposed to be in action at night, is she actually in action, and is she doing it to the level that we would expect? And in this case, on this day, I'm kind of hitting my numbers. I could have perhaps been in bed a bit longer. The length of my sleep was as long as it would be, but otherwise, that seems like a really, really balanced trace. Now let's go to Friday, 22nd of May. Now I start the day nice and early. As you know, in the clinic, I bike in. It's pretty relaxing. I don't rush. There's no cars around. It's pretty chill along the embankment. And then I'm at work, and pretty much from 6:30 through till 4:30, there's green, there's red, there's green, there's red. You can see I've got more than 30 minutes of my work time has been green, which is ideal. And then Friday night, I step out with two of my Australian friends that have been with me here in London for about 15 years. It's the last two of my original crew. And we go for a regular catch-up once every 6 months. And you can see from about 6 o'clock onwards, there's green, there's red, there's green, there's red. I'm drinking, it's social. These guys know me really well. There's lots of banter. And that's what we'd expect to see. But we keep going. You know, we're having a great time. We go out to dinner, have some more wine. And there's not one bit of green for the rest of that night until about 8 in the morning. And even that isn't a lot. You see down there the sleep quality. I'm not in bed long enough. The percentage of time that I had in bed that was dedicated to recovery was 5%. And the quality of my recovery was not as high as it was the night before. So even though I was in bed, the body was not recharging. It was not putting resources back in. It was still spending. This is a common thing we see with alcohol. It affects the quality of your sleep. I had 10 units that night. I definitely felt the next day because I was looking after my son. So I had to get up. Off we go to the pool. The trace is off there between, say, 10:45 and just after, because I'm in the water. I put it back on, and it's not until the afternoon that we start to see some green. And then that night, I park it. I get more than 7 hours. There's 93% of it due to recovery, and the quality is really, really high. In the first video, I brought to your attention the 5 areas of the brain that we need to look at if we're going to make a change to how we do stress and impact our energy, our health, and our performance.